Well, Delhi will soon try something unusual to clean its toxic winter air. Artificial rain through cloud seeding. That's correct. Cloud seeding is a weather modification technique. Silver iodide is sprayed into moisture-rich clouds to trigger rainfall. That rain can wash out dust, smog and other pollutants, essentially targeting airborne pollutants. It has been used in cities worldwide that struggle with severe winter pollution. But why is Delhi looking at this now? Because every year the pollution problem only worsens. Hazardous smog settles over the capital as stubble burning combines with local emissions. Air quality index frequently crosses danger levels, leaving the city gasping for relief. And this is, remember, year in and out, a problem that Delhiites continue to face. So what exactly is being planned? The Delhi government has approved 5 cloud seeding sorties this winter. IIT Kanpur will operate the aircraft and dispersal system over 100 square kilometers in northwest Delhi. The idea is simple: a short burst of rain could bring temporary breathing space, even if only for a few days. That's the science and the plan, but how effective can it be? Is it also going to be able to in some way tackle the long-term challenges that are thrown in with air pollutants year in and out? What should people realistically expect? We'll be breaking down that all-important story on The Breakfast Club. I'm first up being joined in the studio by my colleague Shrishti Chaudhary. Shrishti, let's begin with you. It's that time of the year again, Shrishti. We're going to have these conversations every now and then. And that's the sad part about this, isn't it? But let's try and understand, look to the positive aspect here. Something new which is going to be tried out in the national capital. First up, tell us what's the science there. IIT Kanpur is playing the biggest role in this mission to clean air in the national capital region. When are we to expect the trials? Now that, we're already seeing a lot of rain forecast by the IMD the next 2-3 days, there seems to be a little bit of a delay.
Good morning, Kritsveen. Yes, so it's after a very, very long time that the national capital has finally, finally readied for the artificial rain experiment. Now see, this has been in conversation for a very, very long time because Delhi is one of the most polluted cities in the world. Every winter, especially starting from October, the first week of October, the PM 2.5 and PM 10 levels really surge to dangerous levels, making the air pollution in the city a toxic hazard. Now, like you said, this artificial rain experiment is going to be conducted by IIT Kanpur. But the latest update is because the weather conditions are not very favorable, so the experiment has so far been delayed. It was initially expected to be conducted in the initial part of this week, but now there's a very strong western disturbance, and over the next 2 days, a good amount of rain is expected over northwest India, also the parts of national capital. So the point is, if there are strong clouds, if there's a strong storm coming, that is the point when artificial rain cannot really be induced. So that only happens when the clouds are in an early stage of formation, and we have experts to probably explain that. But yes, it is a kind of a stopgap experiment for controlling the air pollution in the city. We spoke to a lot of experts and they say that there are other factors that we really also need to work on before we, before something like this can be performed. And it's a very expensive exercise, and that is the reason we are also calling it as an experiment, because artificial rain per se has been conducted in India in various states. It has also been conducted by IIT Kanpur as an experimental basis in Bundelkhand to basically induce more rain. But to see it as a solution to control air pollution and on such a big scale, this is happening for the first time in the national capital. The entire window is starting from October 1st to November 30th. We spoke to experts at IIT Kanpur and they told us that they still have a large window to conduct these experiments. And like you said, there are going to be 5 sorties which will be conducted most likely over northwest India, northwest Delhi.
Okay. Quickly, 2 things that we want to understand from you before we go across to our experts this morning. Shrishti, one is of course the success rate. So you spoke of how this has been replicated in some way or the other in different parts of India as well, apart from other parts of the world. So we'll talk about that, what's the success that we've seen there. And secondly, you spoke of how this is a stopgap arrangement. So this is only going to be able to bring temporary relief to the residents of the national capital. Let's say the day after Diwali, something like cloud seeding could be really beneficial. So to what extent is this going to help? For how many days will the effects last?
So artificial rain has now been kind of successfully performed in various parts of the world. Dubai is one example where they artificially induce rain, basically increase the amount of rain that falls over a certain region when the clouds initially form. But to see it as a solution to control air pollution is still on an experimental basis. The experts all over the world are divided over its impacts, whether it will be able to control the air pollution. Especially national capital Delhi is a very complex problem. For decades we have been suffering the problem of air pollution. It's not just like PM 2.5, but there's PM 10 and there are various other particulate matter. Now some of the experts I spoke to have a doubt that this more amount of moisture in the air probably could lead to more condensation and cause more particulate matter to be condensed in the air. So we don't know how much of it will work, but the Delhi government does plan to see whether it can be a solution. We have spent a large amount of money, about 3 crore in this project, which is being led by IIT Kanpur. So we'll have to really see the results. But of course, there are a lot of concerns about its solution, of it being a solution for air pollution. Apart from that, see, artificial rain, like you said, is a modification of weather, and it's a really expensive exercise. Now, the environment experts that I spoke to, they say that there are various other solutions that we should be implementing in the national capital. EVs is one. We need to control our vehicular pollution, get more public transport, encourage people to use it, but that cannot happen with a proper policy implementation. Then open waste burning, stubble burning is another problem. So there are various other problems in the city which we can probably implement with much more rigor than probably spending almost 3 crores on a project like this. But then science offers solutions, and it is one of those solutions which is being proposed by scientists, and the Delhi government is really keen to implement it. So we'll see how it works.
Okay, this is one of the many experiments, and you're talking about the 3 crore amount, huge amount. This is just for the trial that's going to be performed, which is about 5 sorties. Is that correct, Shrishti?
Yes. So this is an experiment, and as part of this particular experiment, this winter, we'll be, the entire project is about 3 crore, which has been led by IIT Kanpur, and so IIT Kanpur will be the nodal agency. And like you said, 5 sorties over a 100 square kilometer area in northwest Delhi, because there are a lot of security implications as well, and there have been strict instructions given out to all people there. You need permissions from several agencies till the end. Last hour, the agencies are involved in getting permissions. It's a very humongous exercise, and that is why the last moment IMD did not give permission because of the weather conditions, which may turn unfavorable at any point in time. Okay,
so we do have a lot of follow-ups, and we'll turn to our guest, our expert joining us this morning to address some of those questions. Thank you, Shrishti, for joining us, really breaking down the entire story and telling us what we can expect the next few days in the national capital. And now going across to former IMD Chief Dr. KJ Ramesh, who joins us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Very good morning.
Dr. Ramesh, this sounds really fascinating. We've heard of cloud seeding before, but for anyone who's alien to the concept, who's still trying to figure out, how do I understand what this concept is really in simple ways? What is cloud seeding? How is it performed? And what are those things that people of the national capital must watch out for regarding this exercise?
Thank you very much. Cloud seeding per se, I have to clear that it cannot create clouds. This technology cannot create clouds. If some clouds are forming, in winter particularly, clouds form over northwest India and Delhi only when western disturbance comes over. Only under the influence of western disturbance you can expect cloud formation. When such a situation emerges, then with this cloud seeding, there are two techniques. If cloud is below 0 degrees level in the atmosphere, then they are called warm clouds. If the clouds are above 0 degrees, means minus temperatures height, then they are cold clouds. So seeding mechanism for warm clouds and cold clouds are different. So that aircraft will decide, ground-based radar will decide continuous monitoring mechanism. There will be a team on the ground to say where the potential clouds are there you can do cloud seeding, dropping these condensation nuclei, cloud condensation nuclei we call, and they make more particles to form, more water particles to form in the cloud. It will accelerate the water droplet formation in the cloud, so thereby enhancing the water holding capacity of the cloud to grow bigger and bigger when the moisture inflow is there to that particular cloud. Moisture inflow also has to be there for the cloud. When you seed this material, if little moisture is there, whatever droplets are there, they will become smaller and smaller, and the cloud will dissipate also if you do the overseeding. So there has to be a ground-based guidance for it with professional team. That's what IIT Kanpur will do. So it is a conditioned experiment. There has to be some base cloud existing that has a potential to grow with the moisture influx potentially happening from the atmospheric conditions. But in winter, it is a stable atmosphere. You can expect this moisture inflow in a monsoon season, even when western disturbance is there. In winter particularly, it's a stable atmosphere. Atmosphere doesn't favor for the formation of the clouds only in those days when western disturbance is there. When western disturbance is there, some rain is going to come anyway.
Yeah.
We are going
Which is where we are today. That's why perhaps
Yeah.
this entire exercise has also been postponed because
Yes.
of the winter disturbances. Yeah.
Yes. So this is what I'm telling. There are so many ifs and buts for this experiment to carry out. In any case, even without this experiment also, some rain will form. When rain will form, whatever pollutants are there, PM 2.5 or other particles, PM 10, they get precipitated anyway. They get
So,
precipitated
Dr.
anyway.
Ramesh, you're saying that there are two scenarios. One is the scenario that we're in right now, which is also the scenario during peak monsoons, right? So it's going to be natural rain showers as is,
Yes.
in which case cloud seeding might not be the most effective because as is pollutants, air pollutants will go down.
Yes.
The air pollution problem is not at its peak. The other
Yes.
is peak winters, wherein due to lack of western disturbances, given the stagnation, it would be very difficult, you're saying, to carry out an exercise like this. So how do you make
this,
the
this
most
technology
of...
cannot create clouds, so you cannot use it in clear sky conditions.
So how do you make the most of it, let's say, post-Diwali, peak winters, when the smog problem is at its peak, when residents in the national capital are literally choking for clean air?
This is not a solution for it. This will only work when Diwali time, if you have a western disturbance coming to your rescue. That is not in our hands. As Srishti said, we have to find out stopping the other emissions during that time. Apart from local emissions from Punjab, Haryana, because wind flows from Punjab and Haryana side towards Delhi, East Rajasthan side towards Delhi. So their emissions, stubble burning is one. Power plants are there. We should shut down all those power plants, at least 20 to 30% inflow of pollutants apart from stubble burning can be minimized. During that time, if you close all the power plants in North Rajasthan, Punjab and Haryana and Western UP, then you will find at least that much contribution not reaching Delhi. Stubble burning, some steps are taken to reduce it. Along with that, power plants also should be, coal-based thermal power plants also should be shut down. And another biggest problem within Delhi is we have all these solid waste mountains all around Delhi. So that generates a lot of ammonia and secondary atmospheric reaction. Ozone and other harmful substances are locally added because of this solid waste available there. And so much of other poisonous gases and emissions are coming. So that will add further. So that problem we cannot solve it, solid waste related problem. Only we can reduce traffic emissions and biomass burning within Delhi and stopping those other activities, industries, small scale industries. All industries also will contribute incrementally one after the another. All industrial activity has to be stopped. and then regulate the traffic. Then only some local emissions are 50%, outside Delhi emissions are 50% in Delhi, broadly if you talk about.
Yeah. So a wholesome approach is needed, and that's the conversation we have here in and out, Dr. Ramesh. How much more needs to be done, from stubble burning to, construction activities in the national capital, vehicular emissions? All of that needs a wholesome approach, collective effort by each and every resident of the national capital region and beyond, neighboring states as well. Dr. Ramesh, to just talk about cloud seeding a little bit. Too much hope should not be pinned on this, is what you're trying to imply, what you're trying to convey to our viewers who've tuned in. But Dr. Ramesh, given the science that you're explaining to us, would it not be wrong to then already predetermine that 100 square kilometers in northwest Delhi is going to be the target area? Because like you said, a certain cloud formation is needed for artificial rain and this entire trial to be performed. So the region could also shift and vary in a few days from now?
Yeah, that depends on the day of experiment, wherever clouds are forming, which sector of NCR clouds are forming, that sector only you have to do. At the moment, they have zeroed in that area because model forecasts are suggesting for the possible cloud formation in that zone of NCR.
And Dr. Ramesh, tell us a little bit more about the technique, the equipment. Now we know this can be done in 2-3 ways. So you obviously have the aircraft which performs it. It positions itself very close to the cloud. That's one. But there are other techniques too. What do you think is going to happen here? Which technique is going to be employed? Which chemical components are we going to talk about? Tell us a little bit about the mechanism in place.
It is actually silver iodide is the commonly used material, and it will be burnt through combustion process. It will be ejected from the aircraft in that particular area where wind is likely to bring moisture influx into the cloud. Clouds also moving with the wind. So in that inflow segment where injection is done. So there are past experiments conducted by IITM and several other agencies, state governments also have conducted. So we have some standard thumb rules. So if this much, first aircraft has to go and collect the sampling within the cloud environment. And then it comes back, transmits that information to the ground team, and then they will identify what would be the appropriate time of seeding the cloud. So then aircraft goes and does the seeding process. So it will happen, then they will be monitoring whether cloud is growing or not. If cloud is not growing as per the anticipation and guidance of the ground team, so they will again suggest that you fly again, do it again, some more may be needed. So it is a...
So there are not just too many ifs and buts. It's also a lengthy process. It's a very complicated, challenging process.
Very lengthy process. For example, when this experiment was done in 2008, monsoon season in government of Karnataka for increasing the rainfall. So it was done for 4 months here. So 4 months time. So when the rainfall comes out of the cloud, so if you take the rain sample, you will know that the seeded material sample will be there in the rainwater. So then you can know where the rainfall has increased in that particular area where you find the material. So that's how you identify where that material sample is not there in the rainwater. So seeded rainwater is not there. Where the sample exists, seeded water is there. With that process, about 15 to 18% increase in the rainfall has been seen in that 2018 experiment by the Karnataka.
Okay, Dr. Ramesh, we have the last 30 seconds, but I do want to put out another question which is going to interest our viewers, which is, in an ideal scenario, if we're able to pull through this, let's say a day after Diwali, when an initiative like cloud seeding might actually make big difference. So for instance, the day after Diwali, we're at 600 AQI. A successful cloud seeding which triggers artificial rain, how much will it bring down the AQI to? So what are the levels we're going to in
See,
an ideal scenario?
without seeding during the Diwali, if you have cloud already there, western disturbance is there. From 600, it will come to 300.
Okay.
If cloud seeding is successful during that time, then it can come down to 100.
Okay, lovely. So from 600 to 100, if we just, let's say, go by cloud seeding and it's
Intervention is right.
okay, the intervention is right. Lovely. Thank you so much, Dr. Ramesh. It was wonderful having you this morning. Explain the science behind it and what we can truly expect, not really pin our hopes too much on artificial rain this winter.